Yumma. My name's Kevi Duncan, and well, actually, my family come from here originally, and we call it Awabba, which is Lake Macquarie, the traditional name for the lake. With my family, I suppose we've been here for thousands of years, and we've enjoyed these waterways and this beautiful, what we say, God's land, or Bayami's land. And it's beautiful, and it's something that we as Aboriginal people have shared for a long time with our ancestral beings. We call our ancestral beings, which is the earth itself, because in our religious belief as Aboriginal people, we believe that we are made of them. We believe we have three family groups as such, and you have your immediate family group, which is your mum, your dad, your grandparents, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your aunties and uncles and so on. Then you have your communal family, the family that we, live with every day. And then we have our ancestral family, that is our environment. Those three family groups are like this. And we cannot separate each other from those family groups as such. And so that is the spiritual or religious belief of our people as such. When we talk of our father and mother coming from the morning star, coming from the river of life as such, is the Mirrabooka. And Mirror means stars and Booka means river. And we say that, they journeyed through the Mirrabooka or the river of life and landed at the sacred place of Mount Yango as such. And Bayami and Yi had basically journeyed across the land. And she had three daughters that we call Mia. Mia in Aboriginal language means first girl in language. And they beautified and changed all forms of life. This is where a lot of our Dreamtime stories come from, how the birds got their colours, or how the kookaburra got its laugh, or how the emu lost its wings, or all these different stories relate to the creation of what gives us life. And so wherever they travelled in their journeys across the land as such, and we have also another woman who we call Bangarabi, and Bangarabi is made of pure crystal, and she was the one who stood on the Wadikan Mountains and crushed the crystals in her hand and released the water, which became the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, the waterholes. We say water is pure, purity. It relates to also, we say Guria. Guria is the rainbow serpent, which is a universal belief in Aboriginal culture all over Australia. Guria, she is feminine, and because it relates to that water again. Of course, we say that that is sacred to women. And so in very special places where Yi and her daughter and Bangarabi had wandered and created and in the dreaming, as we say, became the mountains, the waterholes, the rivers, the lakes, the places that we say are sacred and special. So this is where you might hear of Aboriginal people having sacred places on the land as such. Our people lived here when the ocean was 100 miles out. Our people lived here. There's a great river that is now under the sea that runs along the east coast of Australia, which our people camped along that river. That's how long our people have been here. You could walk through the heads of Sydney Harbour. It was just a creek, the same as Brisbane Water was a creek that ran out to the river. So our people talk of a waterfall which is now under the water where the harbour bridge now sits, which still runs to this day, a great waterfall that fell. So these are now swallowed up by the ocean or the sea, and our people move back with the changes when the ocean rose and when the ocean fell as such. So we moved with those changes within the environment. We learned to live with those changes in the environment. But we were given what we say is the kingship structure. The kingship structure is the law and how we create a balance between us as human beings and our ancestral world, which is in our environment. So that law that Bayami and Yi had given us was the totemship. The totemship was that every child would be named after the environment, every child. And so whether it be animals, plants, birds, insects, the stars, thousands of different ancestral names as such. And then each child would be given that name to link them spiritually, physically and mentally to their place. And this created that balance because those were the very things that fed us, gave us our medicines, gave us our food. So if we weren't to live with that totemship as such, with the balance of life, that law, then we would eat out every animal, bird, insect, creature on earth. We are the ultimate creature. We are the creature of our father and mother creators as such. We're an image of them, we say. And they had given us what we call our tauhia, which is what you might call a soul or spirit that's inside of us. And so when a child was born, our mother would smother us in the earth as such and hold that baby to the morning star and thank for this little baby that has come from the spirit world to be born into this physical world. So we smother the baby with the earth itself. And then ceremony and song and would be celebrated as such for that life. And that was for every individual child that was born. And then that child, from the time that child could walk, would then be coached into and taught responsibility, because you grew up with that responsibility. The responsibility was the responsibility of you and your time being here on earth and looking after everything that is given us life. So, and it's a short time, it's not a long time that we have. And so that window of time that you have that responsibility to learn everything you can from your community, from your family as such. And then once you have been through them different stages of life, that naturally it's, we can't live in this forever. This is just something that we, are given as such, this skin as such. And so we move from this into our next journey. This goes back to our ancestral beings as such. We go back, or we journey back to the morning star, back to the river of life again, within the Mirrabooka. And so that we have a carving at Karyong in sandstone. It's over 10,000 years old, and it's of Bayami. And he's carved in stone with his arms stretched out. He has the sun's rays coming from his head. He holds the moon in one hand and he holds the morning star in the other. And then he has a waist belt, which we call Norimba. We've got a suburb on the coast called Arimba. It's actually the same word. Nora means to dance, and which Nora head gets its name, Nora. And that is the sacred circle. So this belt of life that is around the waist of Bayami, we call that the Mirrabooka, or our Norimba, the sacred circle. And so it's carved around here because naturally you're connected with a belt of life to your mother. And this belt, the umbilical cord is cut and separates you from your mother when you have come from the spirit world into this physical world. That's why our mothers or our grandmothers would smother us in ochres and lift us to the morning star as such. We say Yi is the evening star and Bayami is the morning star. And the girls, when they left their image as such at different places on the land when they travelled, the three sisters in the Blue Mountains is a good example of the Mias. what was left there was those 3 rocks to remind us of them being here in the time of creation. We have Mia Mia Creek, Mia Mia Mountain, which are places that are named after the girls at different places. Also Yi, and with her name, which is Mother itself, which is the earth. So when we danced or when we sang and when we performed rituals or as songs as such to celebrate in our culture, we do this in a natural way. So when we do a kangaroo dance as such and we do these actions, it looks childish, but it becomes a serious thing because we leave our body as such to become the physical spirit of the kangaroo or whatever story that we are teaching. It teaches the children about morals, beliefs, customs, traditions. It's all these things. We don't have a religious name in our culture. Our religious itself is the earth and is the stars. That's our religion. By sitting on a beach, putting your feet in the water or swimming is a religious thing. By sitting on a riverbank, fishing is a religious thing. By sitting under a tree, meditating is a religious thing. Those things, is a personal thing. We say religion is a personal thing. That's what we believe in our culture. It's a personal thing that every individual has in the way that they connect with the spirit or the earth or the sky spirit as such. Bayami, we say, is the eagle. The eagle is the totem as such of our Father Creator. The Dinawan or the emu is our mother, and that is her totem. And we have footprints carved in the land which are over 50,000 years old, which shows Bayami and Yi where they walked. And our people take those journeys, the same footprints, but they lead us to places that tell stories about how we protect and preserve and how we live with one another. We say our stories are your stories. It's not just Aboriginal stories. These are your stories because they relate to us as human beings and how we live on this place that everyone calls Earth and with one another. So I'm not so different. I might have dark skin. I might have a different culture or language as such, but we are the same. I have a nose, I have lips, I have ears. I am not any different than anyone else. And we all live on this place that is our mother, all of us, that we share together. And I think that's important to the world because, the world takes advantage of what, has been given to us. And I feel that there's an unbalance in the world and we have to balance it out. We have to even that balance again before it's too late. Because, like I said, when we as children were given responsibility, then when we grow up, we teach those behind us, the next generations, that responsibility. And I think we need to continue to teach that responsibility so that, like I say, we don't own this place, it owns us. And it's the little ones that inherit it in the future. Thank you.